Hello everyone, let's talk about technique. We want our students to learn beautiful technique from the very beginning. If we have transfer students that come in and they're older, then we have to start where they are and teach them excellent technique that is healthy and body friendly. So there's a lot of myths out there as to what good technique is, but Energize Your Fingers Every Day teaches our students exactly what it means to play fluidly, beautifully, and with confidence. So healthy body-friendly technique is the focus for this 10-book series called Energize Your Fingers Every Day, which I wrote with Timothy Brown. It's 10 books. Oh my gosh, 10 books. And level 4A is coming out any month. So today I'm going to focus on book 2B. In this series, students play all kinds of technique, from scales, triads and inversions, arpeggios, grace notes, pedaling, major and minor, oh my goodness, legato, staccato, all kinds of interesting articulations. And they also learn the basics of a foundational technique. And in these foundational skills, they are actually first taught in the very beginning of each of these books. So we go through good posture, we go through arm weight, what strong fingers are, how important it is to listen. And so I will take you through some of these exercises in 2B, and you'll get the idea of what I am after for our students to really learn great technique. So on page 10 is doing chin-ups. And you'll notice that there are fabulous illustrations throughout this book, and the illustrations and the titles help students to connect their technique with the music. So doing chin-ups is just basic triads, and the student focuses on arm weight, so that's when the student drops to the bottom of the keys. The student learns this in Succeeding at the Piano or Piano Success. At the very beginning levels, they drop to the bottom of the keys and then they roll forward and off the keys. And the second part of this little exercise is to think about strong fingers. Strong fingers that do not dent in at the first knuckle joint. We also want to make sure the students don't play from the middle knuckle joint, because that's too much like curling your fingers or playing on your fingertips, which causes a lot of unneeded tension underneath the wrist and the forearm. So if we say to our students instead, form a rounded hand position, play on the pads of your fingers, and also play from the top knuckles, which are your metacarpal joints, then you're going to have an excellent hand position. I'll play that one more time. Now let's take a look at page 18. Here we have in this unit volleyball game number 1, and we want our students to think about strong fingers. And here the students are playing with crossovers, which is excellent for the eye as well as for their focus. On page 19 is a good preparatory exercise for playing an octave scale. So I start with 4 notes, then I go to 5 notes, then 6 notes, and then to an octave. At the end of every musical little pattern, the students see a fermata, and that means they can think about what they're going to do next with the fingering and with the cross unders. Have the students experiment with the flexible wrists when they're playing, when they're going to cross under, they can let their wrists move up so they can make the cross under very comfortable. And then they can also use their flexible wrist to come off of the fermata notes. All right, so now let's take a look at page 22 together. This is a relay race, and here are some wonderful examples on all these pages for scale playing. We want our students to really enjoy their scales and all of their techniques. So that's why we wanted to create this series so that students love them. And you know, all my younger students want to play these books first before anything else at their lesson time. So relay race, here we have a contrary motion scale, but we start with different keys every time there is another measure where the right hand comes in. And here we want our students to understand what a free arm is. A free arm is making sure that the arm moves and has air underneath it, especially the upper arm. So many students that I see have little locked arms by their sides. Their elbows are right by their sides. Then their wrists go down and they look so uncomfortable and tight at the instrument. So we can have students just do some free-flowing round circles like this, just to get the idea of a free arm. And we definitely want our students to understand that they can play to the left, to the right, and then forward and back, or in and out. So here's relay race. And at the end was just a nice, gentle drip, drop, roll. Okay, so now on the next page, page 23, here's Gone Fishing. Here's a good example of balance between the hands. What's balance between the hands? It's when one hand has more of a melody than the other hand. So that must be brought out over the other hand. So here, the melody is actually just a very basic scale. So we could encourage our students to make a musical phrase shape out of it. And then the right hand takes over. And then while the students are shaping their phrases in the scales, then the other hand actually just has 1 and 5, 7 chords. So here the student can mimic the dynamic nuance that they make for the scales, like this. And if students have trouble with balancing their hands, you could have the student play an exaggerated balance between the hands like this. And they'll laugh with you and say, that doesn't sound good, because all I hear is the harmony, right? You could also have them play the hand that needs to be quieter, lighter and staccato. You could also have them stop on any key and have them listen to the balance between the hands. So now let's go ahead and take a look at page 25. Waiting for the School Bus. Again, I wanted to say Nina Crittenden is the illustrator for these books. Just wonderfully engaging illustrations that she has created. And they're fun. They're really, really cute and happy. And it helps students connect the technique with their music. So let's go ahead. There are just so many wonderful little pieces. You can have your students play an entire unit for 1 week, or maybe you might want to say, let's just go ahead and play 1 page every week. It doesn't matter, just as long as they are working on the techniques that make them a fine pianist, and not just an average pianist, but an above average pianist and an extraordinary pianist. So Irish dance is very cute. All about learning how to play grace notes. Leaves in the Wind on page 31. so here the students are listening actually to a melodic voice up at the top. They're focusing on rotation. Right? Rotation is just going from side to side, like turning a light bulb or turning a tennis racket or opening up a door with a doorknob. So that particular rotation is so that the hand, wrist, and forearm all move in the same direction at the same time. So there are also wonderful exercises that allow our students to think about rotation. 2-note slurs, 3-note slurs. Oh my gosh, more balance between the hands. And here we just focus on those particular items, those particular skills in this level. And as the levels continue to get more challenging, we add on to those skills so that students are always reviewing the skills that they've already learned, and then they always learn new skills. So enjoy, energize your fingers every day. And Tim Brown and I are very excited to share this series with you, which really helps our students learn how to play the piano well.